Welcome back to On Right Podcast here. You have Elijah alongside Grant. Another glorious day to be a Michigan fan. We're gonna hop into pretty convincing win, not as dominating as I think either one of us would have liked, but took care of business against
hmm
Michigan State against little brother. Obviously, we're gonna dive into everything that happened during the game and after the game, for that matter. I'm kind of throwing it over to you. What are your thoughts on a late game, 7:30 kickoff versus Spartan?
Yeah, solid game. I think what was kind of tough about it was kind of waiting all day for the game. I definitely do prefer like a 12 o'clock or even a 3:30. Um, but nonetheless, thought it was solid game. We were once again just super conservative. We weathered the little mini storm that State kind of tried to throw at us. They came and they scored first and had a couple gadget plays. They worked in there. Keon Coleman had some great catches. Um, but yeah, like I said, I've said all year, we do a phenomenal job of just shutting it down second half. Like I think, yeah, like Coleman had like 50, 60 yards and 50 yards in the first half. Think he might have got an extra 40 or 50 just kind of like in garbage time. I don't think Jaden Reed really did much of anything. I just love the adjustments we made, on those jump balls. Robin Moore made a couple of good plays on the ball just to, kind of prevent some big plays and really just kind of suck the momentum away. I mean, they were just dead like mid third quarter for the most part. Like in my opinion, I just felt like it was really evident that they couldn't do a ton on offense. Um, we were just controlling the line of scrimmage. We were just running the ball. I say the only thing that, I would have probably liked would force them to put a couple more touchdowns on the board, 35, 38, 7. I think it's really making them like feel it. Like I think, but I don't think we really care about like trying to like blow people out. I think we just more focused on like making things incredibly difficult for them and making teams die like drowning teams, like make them die like a slow death, like just making it really, difficult for them rather than put up a ton of points. But that said, I think there is some, have to address some red zone issues and really want to start getting that passing game going in some shape or form in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, no. You said kind of dive a slow death or drowning, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Kind of word a little differently. I was going to say just kind of the vice grips, and
Yep.
it's we have them in the grips the whole game, and it's just a matter of keep crunching down, and then eventually sometimes they break, and
Yeah.
that's when you'll see the onside where we'll begin to break them 60-yard runs against like Penn State where
hmm
was 60-yard touchdown rush, 3 and out, 50-yard touchdown rush, 3 and out. And, it's
Yeah.
your defense is just gashed at
hmm
that point. So that's our game plan to winning the Big Ten this year. And that's the game plan I think Harbaugh has been trying to instill over the last 5, 6 years, however long he's been at the helm.
hmm
And I think it's great to finally see it kind of work how we envision it working over the last couple of years and really seeing it all come together. Having a quarterback that's able to make the plays. He didn't have the greatest numbers, but there's no doubt that you can watch him and say, this guy can play. And for him
hmm
to be a 20-year-old quarterback, already have some pretty good road wins under his belt, already has some top 10 victories under his belt. I would say, he has a lot of momentum and a lot of room still to run. I look forward to them still putting game plans out for him. Some of them passes though, some of him, maneuverability in the pocket, and still looking downfield and throwing the ball. A lot of those plays were fantastic, and I
Extending drives,
have
like
extended
back
drives.
breaking, like
Yeah,
third
yeah.
conversions.
Yep, tucking it and running. That's how we're going to win the Big Ten. Is him making those plays. I think he finished. I don't want. I'm completely. I think I'm blanking on this, but I want to say like 170 yards or something like that.
I had
150,
like 165 throwing and like 50 running the
something. Yeah.
nose,
Yep. So I think
rushing.
um, that kind of combination is going to be real hard to defend when Blake Corum has 180 on the ground and Edwards has another 30 or 40 on the ground. That's
Yeah.
going to be real hard to defend. And I think we had like you said, we didn't go for the touchdowns maybe a couple times when we should have
hmm
in the red zone, but that's because I think like you said, we're playing very very conservative and
Yeah.
you knew that they weren't going to be able to move the ball that much. What they were doing is we're going to step back and we're playing 5,000 dead or alive.
Mm-hmm.
That was their game plan of just stepping back and launching it, because that's the only shot we have here. And
Right.
I think, and it broke one time, possible pass interference. And after that, it was more vice grips. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
that shows just the talent differential between the two programs, as far as a real game plan, both offensively and defensively. Your field goal kicker came out, hit 5 field goals, just clean ball game all through. They couldn't get a punt off. They had a couple of times where they had, like, when the 6 game or 6 play stanza, they had like 4 offensive penalties. They
Mm-hmm.
just looked shitty. They look like a bad coach football team. They look like, just something that you don't want to roll out in the Big Ten. And I think,
Yeah.
moving forward, they got a couple more games to go that I think are going to be rude awakening for them. But
They
obviously, just that state focusing on
go
them.
to
But
Illinois next week, ranked
I
top
know,
15.
yep, yep. So I think, we'll begin to see them completely dismantle, but at the same time, we're going to hit our stride. And I just, look forward to November football, where we're handing the ball off to Blake for 30 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards is getting his 8 to 10, and we're, pounding the rock for 40 times a game in the Big Ten in November, and in March to Indianapolis.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man. I mean, we just really, this is just Michigan football. This is like, 10, 15 years ago. I mean, we really just like bringing it back to where we just gonna have a power running game. Just pound the rock 40, 45 times a game until you can stop it. Not going to stop it. A lot of tight ends working them in. Defense is solid. I mean, that D line is playing like lights out. Like, 'cause I just feel like anytime when you really start like stopping the run like that to where you turn teams like one dimensional, sky's the limit. Because yeah, I mean, when the secondary just knows they gotta throw the ball, like they could really be out there just like playing, free for all and just, playing off instinct. And you see Rob Moore, he made a play to end the game, just kind of put the nail in the coffin. And yeah, I mean, we really make things incredibly difficult for teams, and it's just getting better and better. And Corum, I don't 33 carries, you don't love seeing that. That's you thought you might be able to get Edwards, the 5 to 7, just to really kind of sort of split that load a little more, but they riding him. I mean, I think, he just hit 1,000 yards. He might be knocking on the door for 2,000, kind of depends on how these next few weeks unfold. I hope we just kind of handle business. And we got Rutgers this week. Hope we just kind of handle business, get him up out of there, and, not have to deal with much, but he's looking good. I mean,
And the thing about this game in particular is he didn't break one. He
yeah, it was 5, 6,
usually
7 yards
we've seen, yeah, but there was a few times where he easily could have. They
close.
grabbed him by the ankles. He got bounced around, within the hole, and just couldn't get his footing again.
Mm,
But a few times where, so you know, that's that's there.
yeah,
That's there week in and week out. We have a dominating offensive line. Let's not forget to give them their credit.
right.
From left tackle to right tackle, they're studs. They look good.
Like 8 deep.
Um,
Like
yeah,
there's,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Keeping that
nuts.
keeping the pocket clean.
Hmm.
Overall, I mean, we just look like a championship level football team.
Yeah.
And we did not play arguably one of our worst games of the year. So we did not play one of our better games.
Hmm.
Still a 22-point win. Like we both said, a handful of things go different. He could break one or two of those for a good 40, 50-yard runs. And,
Yeah.
overall, I just am pretty impressed. I would have liked biggest thing, like you mentioned it, but just the red zone.
Hmm.
You would have liked to see, even if we trade what two more field goals for 2 touchdowns, that's another 8 points.
Right.
That could be the difference between an Ohio victory and Ohio loss.
Hmm.
And let's not overlook Illinois. We got to take care of business first. Them, I
Yeah.
don't know,
Who
blatantly,
knows what they're gonna turn
I don't give a
into?
shit about them. But
Yeah.
I obviously I believe in us. I don't know much about them, but I know that this is a sleeper team we didn't anticipate.
Right before
Yeah,
the big one.
yeah. So definitely something we got to keep in mind. But overall, I think we look pretty damn good.
Yeah. I would have liked to see that D line be. I mean, I think they got like 2 sacks.
Mm.
which is, I think you get 2 to 3 a game. I mean, that's big. I would have liked it to be a little more. I mean, obviously we stopped the run, but I think pass rush would like that to be a little more stronger, a little more consistent throughout the game. But I mean, they did what was, I think they did fine for what it was worth. But because yeah, I give credit to number 0 for State too. I mean, they were throwing it up there. He was going to get it. Like there was sometimes it was like pass rush, it didn't matter. Who was. But there was, I think he got caught a couple over Jamon Green. That's one of our bigger corners out of
Yep.
him and Turner, and so. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, pretty flawless on defense, only giving up 7 points. And yeah, I mean, he gave that up early second or something like that, late first quarter. I don't remember what it was, but they did what they had to do, and they like I said, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. Just looking to see too, just with the passing game a little bit. Maybe he's working out a little bit more. Not that we like, if we don't need to, we don't need to. I don't think it's something we gotta like try to like force or anything along them lines. But I'm just really liking how things are turning out right now.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, I think we're beginning to hit a certain stride. So it's you got to shift it up a gear. November is different football.
Mm-hmm.
Two ranked opponents coming up, and I just like you got to kind of button it up a little bit.
Yep.
Finishing touches on a few things, and you have to know that you have to convert those into touchdowns in order to get that championship again. And I mean, and it's a blessing in disguise to have somebody, knock on wood, as sure-footed as Moody.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's big. That's big. He hit a 54-yarder. I mean, the guy was money. That would have been good from about 58. That was so.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to have that in our back pocket. I believe he won Kicker of the Year last year, if not a finalist. And
Yeah.
so I think that's a big thing we can lean into, but not something that should be
That
something. Yeah,
take it for
it's a great
granted.
thing to have, but I think at the end of the day, we do need to begin to form that bit of a red zone offense.
Right. And I think if you look around college football, I mean, hell, even the NFL, like there are so many teams that they go through kickers like it's like crazy.
Yeah.
So
The
even to
Lions
have that,
Lions definitely won't kick a 54-yarder. Right.
yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he pretty much he had 5 field goals. He outscored the offense. Like he
Hmm.
really just like we relied on him. He came in there, got the job done. So yeah, like I said, it's somebody is good to have in the back pocket, but we got to put in the end zone a couple more times. We really want to get to where we want to go.
Right. No, completely agree. No, I just
So
this the transition into another team that's a beloved squad of ours. That'd be the Lions. We're kind of in shambles here. I think we're after this week's we're 1-6.
yep,
Bye week's already behind us. I guess I was kind of I don't know. I guess just another loss heading into the preseason, or this would have been a game that I think people had marked as another win. These are one
yeah,
of the six. So it's kind of interesting, and I'm just beginning to see a couple reoccurring habits or reoccurring themes with this team. But I kind of want to throw it over to you.
yeah.
1-6. Where do we go from here?
Oh, it's tough, man. I mean, I would say I like how they came out. They fought, came out 14, but that defense, oh my God! Like I just gotta pull up to a stat line here real quick because
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
needed, he needed 400 yards for sure.
people are literally walking into that building and just looking like Hall of Famers. Like we're not making it difficult for teams at all.
No,
Like it made it a little difficult today, but Tua still 29 of 36, 382, 3 touchdowns, like 138 QB rating. Like Tyreek Hill, 188 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle, 106 receiving yards. I mean, it's
bro, it's
like
pitiful.
we can't. I mean, yeah, I guess before we jumped on, they converted like 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14, like 4 or 5 different times. Like there's just no resistance.
Yeah.
Like I mean, yeah, I mean, you look at the game, it's like the Dolphins, their defense was struggling pretty much the whole game, but like it was really just the battle of the lesser evils. You know what I'm saying? Like we just ended up having the worst defense out of the two teams today, and we just couldn't stop anything. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to look at moral victory, because what it tends to be. Um, I mean, they came out swinging.
We're
Um,
undefeated in more victories this year, bro. We got
yeah,
hang our head.
I'm looking at the stat line. I mean, you got DeAndre Swift, 5 carries, 6 yards. I mean, I don't know. It's it's kind of bizarre, just kind of how today unfolded because they looked great, and then it just kind of went. You just kind of could just feel it. Like knowing Miami's second or them receivers, they never like you just knew they never were going to be out of it just because of who those guys are, and we were just chasing the entire day.
Yeah, I think the season has been kind of like a reoccurring pattern.
Yeah,
Where up until I mean, take away the last 2 weeks, I guess, but we can put up points, and they're putting all their eggs in that basket. As far
hmm
as going for it on fourth, onside kicks, so that we're leaning into our strong point, I guess, which is our offense. But
yeah,
that more often than not is actually coming back to hurt us because you're not converting or you're giving short fields on defense, and then you're putting out the worst defense in the NFL, and historically, if they keep it up, the worst defense in the NFL history. And I just feel like that is such a just a recipe for disaster. I kind of just, I'm looking
yeah,
at it, and it's very every week somebody comes out and has a career game versus us, whether
yeah.
it's Geno Smith or Tua and
Bailey Zappi,
Appy. Yeah, I mean, just come out and they look like you said, Hall of Famers, All Stars, Pro Bowlers, and I
even Carson Wentz, like he still put up 350 and like 3 touchdowns, even though we won. Like,
yeah, 100%. And Hurts, I mean, we were his coming out party this year. I mean, obviously he's continuing to march on and do that more or less every week, but it started with us.
yeah,
We gave him that momentum to kind of slingshot into that season. So, I wonder what you know, and a lot of those, obviously this week not so much, but a lot of times we're putting up points and yards when we're down. So are those
hmm
garbage points, garbage yards? I just really, I'm kind of looking at the state of the team. I mean, the owners came out this week and said, more or less be
patient.
patient. Yeah, we're going to get there. And I'm not sure. It's kind of, we're desperate. And I think the fan bases are just frustrated, where we said that as a joke, but yeah, that we do have to kind of believe in moral victories. That is all that we have.
Yeah,
It's kind of that bad, and that's that's kind of really the state of where we're at. It's just the only thing we can hang our hat on is we're not looking that bad, and that's kind of it's really a shame that we have to be there.
we,
Uh,
we were what 0-9 before we got our first win last year,
yeah, yeah,
and
it
now we
was.
won.
Yeah. And then a couple wins that nobody cared about, really. So I
Yeah,
mean, we're comfortably sitting in first place for the first pick right now. I mean, and are we going to play out of that again? Not to say that we should tank necessarily, but are we going to? You do have to be strategic, or we're going to be bad. If we're going to be, just do it then.
yeah.
Don't
I,
don't go out and win these games.
I
You
said
know,
should trade DeAndre Swift. Honestly, I'm being like
yeah,
they might as well kind of get
agreed.
see a couple more picks in there. I
I want
mean,
up you. Put Hawk in there too.
yeah. I mean he played okay today, but like I don't know. I just feel like it's
And but yeah, he's okay. But I mean, for the money we're going to have to pay him, in
right.
all honesty, we can go out and draft. I'm throwing,
Another
Stokes,
one in
the
the
Ohio State guy, with the 50th pick next year, and have him do the same fucking thing.
yeah.
Like, you know, let's just be honest. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's 5 dudes in this draft that can go get us 500 yards this year. So I just
Yeah.
think, he's very expendable.
hmm
And the same with Swift. I think we do have to be honest, and I think that's the point where we are. Where you don't want to be talking about a fire sale and draft picks. At week 8 into the season, but that is what we have.
Yeah.
Because we clearly can't put together nothing on the field this year, and if we do, it's only to our detriment. If we do rattle off 4 or 5 wins, which we're not going to, but let's say we rattle, we might finish with 4 wins.
We,
But it's
we,
if we
yeah.
get hot and mess around and get 7 wins, that's really only the start, a bad thing. That's some. So
We, and at the division leader, like I mean, they're 6-1. So like, there's, I mean, you look at like all the wild, like the wild card, like we're just so way out of it at this point. I mean, it might as well start to make some of these decisions and just, I know we're not going to do it, but that's something that I think they should be looking into doing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that
especially if you, and this, well, we ain't got to go all the way into this today, but especially if took 3, 4 draft picks and got Jameson Williams, you know, I think this year needs to be even more of an emphasis on depth,
yep.
like to just try to own the defensive side of the ball to where, yeah. But I mean, this is, not everybody probably agrees with that, getting rid of those type of players, but yeah, I'm not too tied to them.
Yeah, I mean the answer is paying them or letting them
Mm-hmm.
walk, and letting them walk does nothing for us, and paying them is a major gamble. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's arguing that Swift isn't good when he's healthy,
Right.
and I'm not saying that Hawkinson isn't an okay to pretty decent receiver or a tight end,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you can go find 3 or 4 Hawkinsons in this draft after pick 40.
Yeah.
And because he's nothing special. And I think you just got to be honest with that. And we can't pay him top of the line money, because that'd be, that's just dumb. So I think
Mm-hmm.
we have to look at it for what it is and make these tough decisions, and really play to win. I think that, and you said we can't necessarily do that, and that's because that's how we've been conditioned that we should have been competitive this year. And so if we should have been competitive and then we tear a couple of our major pieces down and redo it again, that's kind of, what are you saying there? So I think
Yeah.
that they have to kind of sell this thing that we can, you know, I didn't listen to the press conference at all this week. I want to know, what do you begin to say at this point? It's,
Right.
we've already, remember 2 weeks ago, we were going to strip the whole thing and start doing one-on-one drills or some shit in practice. And so I just think,
And,
we're just saying things at this point just to save face. They don't know what's happening, as
right.
far as
I think
Dave Campbell goes.
I think the funniest thing about it is like now the media at first is like, hey man, they're fighting so hard. They're like, they're playing tough. Now we just kind of like drifted off into just fell off like the map altogether. Like it's like, oh, okay, yep, these are who we thought they were. Okay. Like
Yeah,
there's no like and the scenario just keeps getting worse. Like you're gonna have, Green Bay, they can either win tonight or get like blasted tonight and just come back and we'll be their get right game, or they could win tonight and then we'll be like a momentum game, kind of like change their season, or they'll lose
yep,
tonight and we'll be like their get right game. So it's really just it's a crapshoot. It's unfortunate because there are some, I think I'll just continue to point to that Minnesota game like that. I mean, I feel like we lost like 2 games with that in that one game alone, and then really it's just been downward from there. So
yeah. No, I agree with you, bro. It's bad, and I don't even know if we're gonna put this, but we were both each joking about, if we were rooting for different franchises, how much easier it potentially be as a fan, and it's tough, It is, it's I mean,
yeah,
and I think they got to work with us a little bit, man. They got to give us something, to keep us on the hook, and Dan Campbell ain't it.
yeah, the
So
loyalty's been crazy for the product's been for the last 15 years.
exactly. Yeah, bro.
It's insanity at this point to even turn on that game. Like,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
said it earlier in the season. It's an abusive relationship, bro. We're just in it for the long haul.
yeah.
But no, I don't know if you got anything else for the people. I know we'll be back at it for a Michigan review for upcoming week, another Lions review. Um, who knows? Might even start working on the Pistons. I've got my eye on them right now. We got the Warriors on the ropes. 4 minutes to go.
Okay.
So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else for people?
That's all I got, man. Go Blue. We'll be with y'all later on this week.
Yes, sir. Go blue.